what is the process that producers or artists go through to give the okay or get the permission for other artists to use a sample of a song or a loop in their music?
Well, they have to get the permission of the publisher of the song and the master owner of the song. The first step is to go online, go to iTunes, for example, and go see what the label is that released the song. iTunes should have a fairly recent listing as to who the record label is and who might own the recording. So you go first to see who owns the recording. Then you have to request from the licensing department of that record company the right to use the master side, the recording side of that song. And usually record companies will have a number you can call or a fax number or an email to request that license, but they're not very fast. In fact, the smaller you are, the more time they're going to take. It could be a month till you hear from them or more. Then you have to clear it on the publishing side from the songwriters and the publishers. So then you got to go to maybe Harry Fox or ASCAP or BMI and search the song, see who the publishers are. Usually the contact for the publishers or publisher or publishers are listed on ASCAP and BMI. And then if the song has 2 or 3 publishers, you actually got a request from 2 or 3 different publishers for the rights to use the underlying music. Sometimes one publisher will administer the whole composition, so if you're lucky, you only have to go to one publisher. But it's the same procedure there. Then you got to find the contact for the publisher, then you got to contact the publisher and send a request in to license the music side. So it's not a fast process. It can take a while. And then I will tell you that if you're licensing something from a major label or a major publisher, they're going to ask for an advance. And they may ask for an advance on 5,000 units sales. And, for example, if it's a mechanical royalty, if it's based on the mechanical, which is maybe 10 cents a song, they might want an advance on 5,000 units at 10 cents a song. If it's a bigger composition, if it's a very popular composition, they could ask for 10 or 20 grand for use of that sample. And there's a lot of elements that come to play in them deciding that. They'll request to listen to it. They want to see how you're using it. They want to see if you're relying heavily on that sample for your song. If you're sampling a hit song and you're using it heavily in your song, they might deny the license, or they're going to charge you an arm or a leg. And in fact, I think the great example of that was it P. Diddy? Who did that song, the Sting song, Every Breath You Take, where he used the chorus for Every Breath You Take but had his own verses? And Sting took 100% of that.
Yeah,
so
P. Diddy.
Right, it's P. Diddy. They had to license the full. They had to pay every cent of that came in for that song on the publishing side went to Sting. So he didn't make anything, even though he'd added lyrics. And, this is what, if it's a famous songwriter and the element that you're using is part of the hit song, that hit songwriter will probably want 100% of the publishing. And you're going to get nothing on the publishing side. The record label could make the same decision on the master side. Right. And there's, of course, the story of Bittersweet Symphony, where they didn't... What's the name of the band? Who did Bittersweet Symphony? The British band?
The Verve.
The Verve forgot to clear... They didn't forget. They didn't clear just an excerpt of the Stones... a symphonic piece of the Stones song, and the Stones would not budge and took 100% of the publishing of that song, even though the lyrics and a lot of the other music came from the Verve. So it wasn't cleared in advance, and the Stones took 100% of that song.
Didn't they take 100% of the entire album?
I don't know if it was the entire album, but maybe
I think
you might be right, because they were claiming that the album, the hit song, fueled the sales of the album. It was some outrageous amount, but if you don't clear in advance, you have no leverage. Right. You got big problems.
I think what happened was the guy, I forget his name, he's kind of legendary, he said, not only do we get all of the money from Bittersweet Symphony, because that was the hit that fueled the sales of the album, we want all of the money from the album sales. And as soon as it was cleared and agreed to in court, and he had 100% of the rights for Bittersweet Symphony, he turned around and licensed it to Adidas for a commercial for $2 million or something. And he kept all of that.
Right.
It's just, you know.
Right. It was a terrible swindle. It wasn't a swindle. I mean, it's totally legal that he did that. You have to clear these samples, and then you got a hit song, and you're in trouble. And the reason he was entitled to get the money from the album is because it's not just that you're entitled to a statutory penalty of $150,000. You're also entitled to damages or lost revenue as a result of the use. So their claim is that as a result of the use of this song, the album made X dollars, and therefore we're entitled to X dollars. And they took it.
Wow. So there's a cautionary tale. Surely, is there, you know, with this much at stake, with so many legal paperwork obstacles and hoops to jump through with this licensing, are there services that you can go to say, look, we use these samples, can you express mail clearance?
Well, there are sample clearance companies. They're out there. If you Google it, you'll probably find one. They'll charge you a fee. I actually have a company called Movie Tracks that clears samples as well. But you know, you're gonna get charged a fee that compares to the difficulty of clearing the sample. So if it's going to take a lot of work, they're going to charge you a fee, and that fee is on top of whatever the publisher and the record company is going to charge you as well.
Right.
So you got to pay for those services, but some companies are out there that'll do it.
Right, and so, you know, my feelings about a gig contract are that maybe it isn't your best protection, but in terms of sample clearances, I would definitely lean towards hiring a professional to do that, so you don't end up losing everything when the one sample the crazy keyboard player forgot to tell you about, you know, doesn't end up costing you everything. And with Murphy's Law, in effect, it will be the biggest song that has the tiniest sample that causes the largest problem.
Right. Yeah, that's absolutely true. And you can't hide anything these days. It's all over the internet. Somebody will pass it along and tell somebody else, and boom, it's out there.
Yeah, well, we know how that works.